Hey, church, we are coming up on the end of February and moving into March when I am excited that we'll be able to offer the opportunity of being at church in person for worship again. I know that this isn't going to be for everyone, and so we'll continue to live stream our services every Sunday, but it's a good thing that our conditions are such that gathering is more possible, and hopefully that continues on for a while. So look forward to seeing many of you in person on the 7th or online. We continue to move through the season of Lent, and our Lent in a Bag devotional is going to be available for any who haven't picked it up, either at the church office or if you come in on the 7th, you can pick up a Lent in a Bag devotional. This week, if you're following along, you might be in the story of Zacchaeus with the Lent in a Bag symbol of a rock. So we have, I kind of forgot to bring my Lent in a Bag from the church where I had kept it. But if you're at home, you can download Lent in a Bag through this EUpdate and provide your own rock. This one's pretty heavy. Where did this rock come from?
This came from the beach in Cape Breton.
Cape Breton, Nova Scotia rock. So, Jesus, when he was in the wilderness, was tempted by Satan to turn stones into bread to provide for himself. And Jesus didn't do that. Instead, he trusted for God to provide for him. And then out of the wilderness, Jesus went out into the world and provided for people in so many ways, healing them and feeding them and providing comfort and encouragement. And along the way, there's this guy named Zacchaeus who may have had kind of a stony sort of heart as a tax collector, but he met Jesus and was transformed. So let's listen to that story.
He entered Jericho and was passing through it. A man was there named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd he could not, because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him, because he was going to pass that way. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried down and was happy to welcome him. All who saw it began to grumble and said, "He has gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner." Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "Look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much." Then Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek out and to save the lost."
So it seems like there are a bunch of hard-hearted people in this passage. And what do you hear about like hard hearts and complainers?
In this passage?
Yeah.
Let's point the finger at what other people are doing wrong. And, people were grumbling. He's gone to be the guest who's a sinner.
Yeah, you probably don't know anyone that complains about other people, right? And maybe they had something to complain about, because Zacchaeus seemed like he may have been hard-hearted himself. We don't know his whole story, but it sounds like as a tax collector, and he would have had plenty of opportunity to take advantage of his situation, maybe he took in more money than he should have, that he defrauded people, that he was sort of heartless in taking money from people who may not have had a lot of money to give. But then he sees Jesus and gets a kind of an invitation from Jesus that I'm going to go to your house, Zacchaeus, which was a huge honor. And he gets to open his heart to Jesus and provide hospitality. But he also says, "I'm opening my heart and my wallet up to the people I may have defrauded." So here's a transformed man. And maybe that's what this week's Lent in a Bag devotional is offering us to think about. How can we be more open-hearted to those that we might complain about in the first place, but maybe also, how are we being transformed in our own hearts? So what about you? What's the way that you feel like maybe you have grown more open-hearted?
Probably in my job, all manner of people will call in for information or come up to the desk at the library for information, or really because they're unhappy about something. And all they really want is not necessarily solutions to their problems, but somebody to talk to, and they just want to be heard. They just want to be listened to. And so it's a reminder that to have patience with people and myself, because I could obviously be offended or, take things personally, when really people just want to be heard. They just want to be listened to. They want to feel like somebody cares about what they're saying and what their opinion is and how they feel.
For me, I think that my life as a parent has been just slowly, little bit by little bit, God creating cracks in stones in my heart. And I write a little bit about this in my written piece in this e-newsletter, how I like to be a person of discipline and have sort of a regimen. See, Heather's laughing, she knows about this. A regimen for how I do things, but man, life with kids does not always fit into that. And so some of the ways I've grown is to be able to let go of the thing I thought that I was going to be doing or how I was going to do it in order to pay attention. This is knowing laughter. In order to pay attention to what does love require right in this moment for one of our kids. So I have lots of ways to grow in that still, and I have more compassion for others who are dealing with that in some way themselves. So Lent in a Bag is all about listening to Scripture, listening to Jesus, picking up some objects and figuring out how is this some sort of symbol for a real life struggle, but opportunity to grow in the way of Jesus. That's what we're about: loving God, sharing relationships, serving others from the heart of Christ. Peace to you all.